Good morning! I think in my last vlog I told you that I was going to finish Wall of Storms, the second book in the Dandelion Dynasty, and the Bonehunters, the sixth book in Malazan this week. That was stupid. I'm obviously not doing that. So I'm also finishing Monster this week, which is a manga series. I mentioned this in the last vlog, but Philip and I are we're reading and recording 2 bind-ups a week, but only releasing 1 a week because he's going to be out of town, and so that helps him with his video schedules. And it's also good to do this with this series because this series is a lot, so reading it close together has been better. Also, it's been better because leading comments, they don't lead us because we're way ahead of the schedule. So this has worked out great. However, finishing 3 really heavy series / books in the same week, I'm not emotionally prepared for that. That's not going to work out for me. So, changing plans. I am finishing Bonehunters this week, and I am finishing Malazan this week. Dandelion Dynasty, I will continue to read slowly. It's amazing, but I can't handle all that at once. So instead I've picked up Equal Rites. This is only 200 pages, and it's Terry Pratchett, so it's such a joy to read. So this will be a nice balance for the heavier stuff. So let me tell you about this because I have started it and it'll be finished before Bonehunters is finished. And I'm not going to talk to you about Monster in this vlog because it would be ridiculous for me to tell you what I thought about the end of it when we're still in the beginning of our release schedule week to week. Anyway, Equal Rites. I love this. I love it so much. Okay, so we start off with a wizard. A wizard who, I'm gonna be so obnoxious, who came walking through a thunderstorm, and you could tell he was a wizard because the raindrops were stopping several feet from his head and steaming. I just love every line in a Pratchett book. Okay, anyway, so this wizard is walking to get to okay, so the wizard knows that he's about to die, and so he's going to find the 8th son of an 8th son so that he can pass on his wizardly ways, prowess, magic to this son. So he's found a man who is the 8th son who's having his 8th son. He presents himself. He's like, hello, you have a wizard in the family now. Take me to the child. I only have like 6 minutes. And so he goes and he passes on his wizardly magics and stuff to the child and then promptly dies. In death, realizing this child was a girl. Whoopsie. Wizards aren't women. Wizards are men. So at least where I am in the book, the big thing is everybody knows that wizards are men and witches are girls. We can't have a female wizard. Why? Because everybody knows it. So already we have fantastic comedy, amazing lines that just kind of penetrate right through expectations and norms to be like, but why? Why are we doing it this way? And you know, great conversations already being brought up. Just generally great prose. I can already tell that this is going to be one of those really annoying reviews where I'm going to be quoting lines as much as I'm going to be giving commentary on the lines themselves, because I love the way Pratchett says the simplest things. I'm having a wonderful time. It's a delight and a wonderful balance to the end of Monster and the end of Bonehunters. I'm really, really happy I've made this choice. I'll also be talking about Dragon Ball in this vlog. Welcome to the vlog! Hunters done. So, okay. Rather than talking about part 4 of book 6 in an epic fantasy, we'll just talk about, now that I'm done with the Bonehunters, we'll talk about Bonehunters all together, still spoiler free. What an incredible book! Oh my goodness. So in this book, we get so much satisfaction. We get so much payoff for things that have been set up for 5 books. There's so many. So Malazan is such an epic series. It's a series that takes place on multiple continents, that's following many, many groups of people, and that has a lot of setup. And each book has its own story and its own satisfying conclusion and is good enough on its own. It also, the series also feels disjointed. And I didn't realize that I was getting really comfortable with how disjointed the series was. And I didn't realize that I had started viewing this series from the perspective of each book is almost like its own series, its own thing, but having some connections. Probably a horrible way to describe that. Anyway, Bonehunters is the book that brought is the book that started bringing things together. Characters, plot lines, things that have been set up so long ago came crashing together. There's still stuff that I don't understand. I think that will forever be something that I say about Malazan books. But there's so much that happened in this book that it felt like I guess I just had become so comfortable with the way of reading Malazan that I was shocked and delighted to have so much come together and feel so satisfying with all of that I said before, but also with the characters. There are characters that I have known in other books that are now here and having so much growth and so much change in this book as well. POVs that are meeting for the first time, absolute tragedies happening always. Epic, incredible, horrible battles. The action, the emotional beats, the comedy, it's all there. All the things that I love about Malazan is present, but also there's just this feeling of, oh, we're here. This is it. Does that make sense? I feel like that doesn't make sense. I feel so ill-equipped to review this series. It just feels like this book is like, okay, now we're in the thick of it. 6 books in. I know that sounds terribly dissuading to you if you've not read the series, but that's how I feel right now, and it feels great. Next Tuesday, or this upcoming Tuesday, is a monster video, and then the following Tuesday will be Bonehunters, so that's great for me because that gives me plenty of time to get my notes together before we talk it out, because oh no, how can I talk this one out? But that's how I feel about every Malazan book right after finishing, so we'll find a way. I'll also just go ahead and update you on Dragon Ball because I've read 3 volumes and I don't think I'm gonna read one tomorrow. So let's talk about Dragon Ball. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing I did last video that worked really well for me. I'm going to speak spoiler-free, but on the screen I'll put panels to go along with the spoiler-free stuff. So if you want to be spoiler-free, just treat this section as a podcast. Don't look at the screen. If you don't care, you don't care. People have told me that it doesn't matter with Dragon Ball, you don't have to be spoiler-free, but I try to keep these vlogs spoiler-free just in general. And whenever I complete Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, I want to do a live stream where we just all hang out and talk spoilers together. It'll be fun. So we did the tournament and it was amazing. Oh my goodness. I love seeing Goku in action. This is one of the few instances where we have a protagonist who just kind of by sheer might. I mean, it's not true sheer might because there is a lot to Goku. He does have certain powers, certain abilities that are very unique to him. But there's also a lot of just, okay, I saw you do that thing. I'm gonna go ahead and do it too now. It's very, the power scaling, look at me being a manga reader, is insane. And I love it. But also we have Master Roshi, is that his name? Nasty Old Man, as I call him, who is very present in this tournament section, which is a big negative in many ways, but he was awesome in this! And that kind of makes me mad because he's horrible and I don't want to like him, but I gotta admit that he's really, really, really cool when he's in action. When he's in action, oh my goodness, I want to see more, but then he's not in action and then I want him to shut up and go away. So I have very conflicting feelings about this character, but I will tell you that I do love seeing him showing off his power. There's also so much humor in these volumes that I just read that were amazing, like goofy, derpy humor, very stupid gags that I just love. I love how stupid this series is, as well as really, really bad humor. That we gotta have at least one gross joke, inappropriate joke per volume. It's a requirement. But on top of Goku being so strong, like comedically strong, like people are like, how can this child have these abilities? But he's also so a child. His innocence and his lack of life skills is always on the forefront. Like the first time that he goes and visits a city and he's looking for a friend and he is just asking everybody, where's my friend? Where's this person that I know? And everybody's like, don't know her. And he, in his mind, he just can't understand. You live in the same village as her. How do you live in the same town as someone and not know them? Everybody knows everybody that lives in the same town because a city is just like incomprehensible to him. But anyway, we're back on our quest to collect more Dragon Balls, and true to Goku, he does not actually care about collecting them all. He just wants the one. But when he comes across others, he's like, what am I supposed to do with it? I guess I'll just take it with me, which is just its own comedic genius. I'm just having a great time. I'm having terrible time sometimes, but mostly I'm having a great time. I also finished Monster this week, but I'm not going to tell you about it because we've got lots of videos coming out on that. Although she was opposed to books on a strict moral grounds, since she had heard that many of them were written by dead people, and therefore it stood to reason reading them would be as bad as necromancy. This book was a complete delight. Equal Rites challenges the concept of believing something or thinking something is the way simply because it's the way. Why does it need to be like this? Why is this what you think how things should work? Well, because that's just the way of things. It's just the way it is. Not good enough. Try again. I love that in this book where men can only be wizards and women can only be witches, and that's the end of it. And it doesn't matter if logic or if facts or reality come into play. Like, for instance, our main character is dubbed a wizard and now has high magic abilities. It doesn't matter what's actually happening in front of us. You can't be a wizard. And I love that it's not this like men versus women kind of book where all the men are like, you can't come into our club, but we have the woman who has Granny, who's taken her on and who is who's raising her up and teaching her the way of being a witch, and she too has the same, she's like, you can't do it. And in fact, women are great at doing things the way that they do them, and they should keep doing them that way. If they, what was the quote? She said something really funny. Women should stick to what they're good at. If women were as good as men, they'd be a lot better. So like it's not like boys won't let me in their boys club. It's like it's this everybody kind of has this mentality, and this is just the way things are, and it's perpetuated kind of in every direction that you go in. And then as people are kind of having to confront, okay, but why not? And then moving forward from there. And it was, you know, Pratchett constantly impresses me with how ahead of the times he is and how much he challenges stuff that I wouldn't have expected to be challenged in such a direct, head-on way, and I think that he does, not always, I don't think that his commentary is always flawless. There are times where his jokes kind of trip over themselves with a modern eye, but then there's so many other things that don't. There's so many other things that you read with a modern eye, and still we could use this as the basis of so many discussions. And I love it. It was funny, it was deep, it demanded to be discussed from like a dozen different angles, and it was a delight. So many funny quotes. I shouldn't just be quoting stuff at you, because this is the spoiler-free one, and we're gonna do a spoiler discussion on it, so I should save all of these many quotes that I have for then, right? But I'd like to keep quoting at you. I'll do it. I'll practice self-control. We'll talk in the spoiler chat. A friend of mine on my Discord who really wanted me to get into Terry Pratchett because he was convinced that I would love it, I told him I'm overwhelmed by how many entry points there are for Terry Pratchett, so you tell me where to start and I'll just do what you say. And he told me start at Equal Rites. Then I didn't do what he said, and I started with Guards, and then I read a bunch of other stuff, and whoops. But he was right. This would have been an excellent entry point. So is Guards. So is Color of Matt. Terry Pratchett just writes good books. That's my review. Terry Pratchett just writes good books.